How to get unwashed in Chapter 3 Season 2. If you struggled to get to champs last season, haven't played the game in a while, or just feel washed, you have found your key to get unwashed. I'll be giving you a warm-up, mentality tips, how to get used to the new season, and more. Before we hop into it, the sponsor of today's video is Buff Gaming. If you don't know about Buff, Buff is an app that allows you to earn rewards like Steam cards, Xbox cards, and more, all for free. Simply download Buff and have the app running in the background while you play your favorite games, such as Fortnite, Valorant, and even Minecraft just got added. Buff is a great addition to your grind because it adds extra incentive to perform your best, so that you complete more challenges and earn more rewards. There's nothing more satisfying than seeing your Buff points increase throughout a gaming session. Plus, it's a trusted app of Overwolf, so it's safe, and basically takes zero computer power, so your gameplay won't even be affected. If you sign up in March, you get 30 extra points. Make your gaming experience more rewarding by downloading Buff for free using the link in the description. Timestamps are down below. Right off the bat, I am just going to throw you a really good practice routine for this season. It starts out with like 15 to 30 minutes of aim training. This season, it is insanely crucial that you practice your aim, especially tracking with the SMG. I think we all know why, because the new SMG is just even more powerful than the Stinger SMG. We never thought that something like this would happen, but it did. So, are we gonna sit here complaining about it, or are we gonna get the best aim in the game so that we can never lose a fight? I'm gonna go with the second one there. You can hop into any of my Kovaaks routines down below. I have an easy, medium, and advanced one. If you don't have Kovaaks, that is a-okay, and I'm gonna tell you why. A couple weeks ago, we got one of the most god-tier aim training maps in creative mode in Fortnite. Raider stepped up his game to a new level when he dropped this aim training map. Code is in the description. It is basically Kovaaks but in Fortnite. There's been lots of other aim maps that have tried to replicate this, but this one is just so elite. I honestly am going to start running this on top of my Kovaaks routine to just keep my aim at top tier level. So yeah, step 1 is 15 to 30 minutes of aim training practice. Step 2 is picking out 1 or 2 of your weakest points in the game mechanically. Is it edit coursing? Is it piece control? Is it high ground retakes? Is it crosshair placement? Try to pick 1 or 2 things every single day after your aim training to practice in creative mode. Do this for about 15 to 30 minutes as well, or longer if you have a lot of extra time. It's just crucial that you're practicing at least 1 of your weak points every single day in your warm-up, because then eventually one day they will turn to strengths. Now, you may not know how to practice your weak points. Like, let's say that your weakest point is piece control. How the heck do you practice that? I have tutorials for every single mechanical skill in the game in the description. So figure out what your weakest point is, go look at a tutorial in the description, and add that to your practice routine. If you do this for an entire season, eventually all of these weak points will turn into strengths and you'll be a god tier player. Back to the warm-up. Step 1 is aim training. Step 2 is mechanical practice. Practice your weak points. And then step 3 is hop into 1v1s to complete the warm-up. You can matchmake into 1v1s via creative mode and just 1v1 random players from there. Or you can try to find somebody in a scrim Discord by going to the looking for players section, and you might find more sweaty players there. Then the last place you can find the sweatiest players is in token 1v1s on Rematch, or ranked 1v1s on there. This is a website, rematch.gg. That's where you're going to find the most high intensity pro level practice. So that is going to be the most perfect warm-up routine for you. After that, you can continue 1v1ing people if that's going to be your main practice for the day, or you can hop into arena or scrims. You do this every time you get on, you are going to become an elite player in no time. Now, a question a lot of you guys are going to have after the first part of this video is, how do you transfer those mechanical skills that we're practicing in our warm-up? How do you transfer that to arena and to tournaments? I'm going to tell you in 3 steps. It's this simple. Step 1, master the skill in creative under no pressure whatsoever. So like in a creative practice map, or just free building around. Like if it's a high ground retake, just mastering that in a free build map. That's step 1, and then step 2 is mastering it in 1v1s against somebody else, getting it down under pressure, but in a non-pressure situation. So let's say you're trying to get a high ground retake down. First, learn it under no pressure whatsoever. Then learn it in a 1v1 under some pressure. And then the last step is getting it down in arena. Once you get it down in a 1v1 where there's not too much pressure at all, it just takes a couple tries to get it down in actual arena. At that point, it's literally just getting past that initial nervousness. You just have to get past that. and then it becomes just a part of your arsenal, a part of your skill set. That's literally how I've gotten down every skill in the game. Step 1, under no pressure. Step 2, under a little pressure. And then step 3, under a lot of pressure. And then I've mastered it. Obviously, this makes it sound really easy, but in reality, those are the steps. And it's gonna take different people different amount of time to learn different skills, but that's how you do it. Just that plain and simple. Again, going back to that step 1, learning it in creative, if you don't know how to learn a certain skill, just look up a tutorial on YouTube. I have tutorials for almost anything you can imagine, so, check out one of mine. The next most important thing, which is especially important for people that really didn't play last season, is learning the new meta. We are still in the spray meta, which means accuracy and up-close tracking is key. It's like the most important thing. So, aim training with the new guns is going to be huge. Like I mentioned earlier, Raider released a new aim training map that could help a lot of people with this. That code is in the description, and you can also use Kovaaks if you have that luxury. That's what I use. My Kovaaks routines are in the description. 1v1ing with the new guns could also be very beneficial, especially if you're losing in arena a lot. If you feel like you're getting outplayed by the new SMG a lot, then yeah, you may want to hop into some 1v1s. Just make sure that anytime you die, whether it be arena or 1v1s, you understand why you died. I know it's easy to blame the new gun and be like, wow, that gun is so OP, there is nothing you can do. But a lot of times there is something you can do, and just simply watching it back can help you learn, and then next time you're in that situation, you'll know how to handle it. Like, there's been times where I've died from the new SMG literally in a millisecond. And when that happens, I'm just like bewildered. I'm like, wow, that is insane. But usually the reason I died that way is because of the fact that I let them get in my face with the SMG. It isn't about the SMG being OP, it's about how you play the fights knowing that the SMG is OP. One of the most important things in the spray meta is knowing how to counter it, knowing how to not let the opponent get in your face with the SMG, but instead, you're getting up in their face with it. So with all that being said, doing 1v1s with the new guns can help you out a lot, and also understanding why you died. Another thing we have to adapt to in the new meta is the new mechanics. We now have sprinting and mantling. It's not that hard to get used to this new stuff. The sprinting mechanic is primarily useful when looting and running to zone, or when rotating, so just getting in the habit of remembering to press the sprint button, that's pretty much it with that. But the mantling can be used in fights. If you're low on mats, you can mantle up to high ground without wasting a single build. So practicing mantling in creative can be pretty beneficial. Just while you're free building, practice mantling in the middle of your free builds. That can help you get used to the new movement feature really fast. And then of course we have the new spots on the map. Learning the map and finding drop spots early in the season is really important. The earlier you find your drop spot for the season, the more time you'll have to master it completely before tournaments start. So make sure you're playing a good amount of arena and scrims so that you can find where to land this season. You can also hop on that website called Fortnite.gg just to see where everything is. See how many chest spawns there are at different locations, all that stuff. I definitely recommend hopping on Fortnite.gg for like 30 minutes and learning the map a little better. The biggest key differences this season is that there's lots of new metal farms, and the blimps change a lot of the game, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if you fight in the blimps, you have to know where you can and can't build. There's also a lot of metal in the blimps, so metal farming up there is pretty important. And then in tournaments, if you're trying to get storm surge tags, being up high in those blimps is key. And then the last thing, if you're fighting against tanks, getting up on the blimps and shooting the tanks from above makes it so that they really can't do much to you. You can shoot the driver's seat and kill the driver without them really having much of a chance of hitting you. The last big thing about learning the new meta is learning how it works in a tournament format. It's going to be crucial to run scrims and third-party tourneys in this early season before tourneys actually start in-game. The reason is we got to figure out how to rotate with the new movement, and how Storm Surge is going to work with the new blimps. The only holdable movement that we have in the game right now is launch pads, I'm pretty sure. We have vents on the blimps around the map, we have cars, we have cannons, we have all that stuff, but the only stuff we can actually hold into the moving zones is launch pads, which means we're going to be back in that meta where we have to do a lot of early rotating or scouting for launch pads when we late rotate. We got to get back into that mindset. It's going to be very different than last season where we would just rotate ahead with Spideys every single game. If you guys don't know how to get in scrims, you can go to the website rematch.gg. You can also go onto Fortnite Tracker and go to the play section. Click on any of those scrims and it'll say how to get into those Discord servers. And then the last way is just Google searching Fortnite scrims and then your region. So I'm not sure exactly when arena points are going to reset, but once the arena points do reset, it's going to be really beneficial that you grind as much arena as possible in that first week. That's when arena is going to be the absolute sweatiest, so getting fighting practice at that point in the season is going to be the most realistic tournament-like fighting practice. It's going to be the hardest arena you play all season, but that's when it's most beneficial. Try to make the best of the challenge of the early season arena, learning and improving against the best players in the game. If your mentality gets really bad, take a break, hop in 1v1s, go practice your mechanics and creative, whatever, but don't get discouraged because the players you fight right as arena points reset are typically going to be some of the most challenging players. Especially if you get to Division 7 in the first day or two, you're going to be running into pro players left and right. But that's a good thing. That means you're getting some really tough practice. Do you ever feel like you're not improving at all? If so, listen up. Throughout seasons and seasons of learning new techniques, here's one of the biggest things I realized. Let's say you're doing all the stuff that I talked about in the video, but you're still losing fights. This is a secret to know that you're pretty close to breaking through to the next level. If when you die, you instantly realize what you did wrong, that means that you understand what to do. Once you get to that point, it's only a matter of time that the game starts clicking and your reflexes start clicking and you stop dying in those situations. This is why it's one of the most important things to watch back your game, because once you get to that point where you can recognize your mistakes right away, that means that you're only a fraction of a second away from recognizing your mistakes in the moment and not making those mistakes anymore. Think about it like this. At first, we watch back our gameplay, we figure out what we did wrong way after the fact. Like, I'm watching my gameplay at the end of the day and I'm like, oh, that's what I did wrong. But then if I make that mistake again, right away, I'm just like, oh, I did that wrong again. I gotta not do that anymore. And the more times you recognize a mistake, the closer you are to not making that mistake anymore. I feel like some people needed to hear that. Once you recognize your mistakes, you're almost there, so keep pushing. I hope this video helped you guys out. Just a quick reminder, any aspect of the game that you are struggling with, I have tutorials on. A bunch of them are in the description, so go check it out. The main one I want to recommend to beginner players is my recent beginner building guide. Don't forget to hit that like button and sub if you're new. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.